Hey Codzzys, welcome back. Today, we're exploring advanced reasoning strategies, ReAct, and tree of thought. These techniques build on chain of thought to help AI solve even tougher problems. Remember chain of thought from Module 2? That's where the AI thinks step by step to solve a problem. Remember when we showed you the LangChain agent thinking style with thought, action, and observation? That pattern we saw, that's actually ReAct. Today, we're going to dive deeper into what ReAct really is, how it works, and when to use it effectively. First up, ReAct. This stands for reasoning and acting. Think of it like chain of thought that's aware of the real world. Basic COT just thinks through a problem internally. ReAct goes further. It combines COT's step-by-step thinking with the ability to use external tools, search the web, or query databases. It's like giving the AI hands, not just a brain. And so this strategy is very useful inside of what we call an agent. But we're going to talk a lot about agents in future courses, so stay tuned. Here's the React loop. This is the core pattern. The AI starts by thinking about what to do next. Then it takes an action, like using a calculator, searching the web, or calling an API. It observes the result, and based on that observation, it thinks again about the next step. This loop continues until the task is complete. The key difference from basic chain of thought: React actually interacts with the outside world, not just reason internally. Before we dive into examples, let's understand the key components of a React prompt. You need three things: thought, action, and observation. Thought is where the AI reasons about what to do. Action is where it uses a tool or takes a step. Observation is where it sees the result and learns from it. This creates a feedback loop that makes the AI smarter with each iteration. Here's our first example, a math problem. I'm using the previous problem for Module 2. Using tools will allow us to solve it with almost 100% accuracy. In this example, I'm going to add a tool for it to be able to use code. And here's my prompt. Notice how we started the pattern by giving it a starting thought. The AI then continues the loop, taking an action to use the code, observing that result, and so on. This creates a clear reasoning trail. That's much more reliable than asking for the answer directly. The language model was able to run the code and return the correct answer. Let me pull in my calculator here. And as we see, it's on point. Let me do a fun little experiment with you. I'm going to ask it what day is today. October 2nd, 2023. That's probably not so accurate. Now I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to add web search. And this is 100% accurate. You could also ask it to do this without the React pattern, but the React pattern provides a very organized, thoughtful process for any AI agent or tool using language model to be able to follow through the process and plan ahead while it's going through the process. Now, what other tools do we have? We can add an MCP server, and an MCP server is basically a third party built for you to actually be able to call it through an LLM. An MCP is like the universal language between language models and other tools. You can choose from these servers, or you can just add your own server if you have one. Now, we could also add file search, like if you have some files and you wanted to search through the files or the blob storage. You could also add code interpretation, image generation, or your own function. If you're going to incorporate this within your application, I would probably use this function method, as it will be able to easily call the functions that you have in your code. Think about customer support bots or scheduling or booking bots, for example. Here's another great use case, debugging code. With ReAct, the AI can think about what might be wrong, test different hypotheses, observe the results, and iterate. This structured approach makes it easier to follow the AI's reasoning and understand how it arrived at the solution. The thought-action-observation pattern creates a clear audit trail. Now, a quick tip for writing effective ReAct prompts. Always provide clear example of the pattern you want. Start with at least one complete thought-action-observation cycle. This gives the model a template to follow. Be specific about what tools are available, and make sure your prompt explains the loop should continue until the task is complete. The clearer your initial pattern, the better the model will follow it. Check out LangChain Hub. It's like GitHub but for prompt templates. I'm going to search for ReAct. I'm going to click on top favorited. And let's actually take a look at the first one. Here's a classic ReAct prompt. So here we have the tools it has access for. We have a question, a thought, action, an action input, which is the input to the action, and then the observation after we actually took the action. It says to use thought, action input, and observation as many times as it wants, and then it ends with a thought, I know the final answer, and then the actual final answer that should be returned back to the user. The user usually doesn't have access to behind the scene, so it only has access to this final answer, which is the answer to his original question. And then it starts the cycle by the user question and then the first initial thought. Fun fact, H.W. Chase here, the owner of this prompt, is actually Harrison Chase, the CEO and co-founder of LangChain. Alright, that's ReAct in depth. Now you understand how to build on chain of thought, when to use it, and how to write effective React prompts. And you know where to find production-ready templates in LangChain Hub. Next, we'll explore tree of thought, another powerful reasoning technique that lets AI explore multiple solution paths. Let's dive in. Next, tree of thought or TOT. Imagine a decision tree. TOT lets the AI explore multiple reasoning paths, evaluate each one, and then pick the best way forward. It can even self-correct if a path looks wrong. TOT is like brainstorming. The AI generates several possible solutions or next steps, explores each one, and then prunes the bad ideas. It's a powerful way to tackle problems with many possible solutions. Here's a real-world example of tree of thought in action, analyzing quantum computing adoption in finance. Notice how the prompt structures the thinking process into distinct phases. First, thought generation. The AI explores multiple categories of factors, then factor analysis. It divides deep into each category, identifying both inhibitors and drivers. Next, synthesis. It evaluates conflicts between categories. And finally, final recommendation. It synthesizes everything into actionable advice. This structured approach forces the AI to explore multiple reasoning paths before converging into a solution. It's perfect for complex multi-factor problems where you need comprehensive analysis, not just a quick answer. So when do you use these? React is great for problems needing external tools or real-world interaction. TOT shines for complex decision-making, puzzles, or creative tasks where exploring many options helps find the best answer. These advanced strategies help AI move beyond simple responses to truly complex problem solving. Keep practicing. Next, we'll learn about prompt chaining, linking multiple AI calls for bigger tasks. See you there!